think are necessarily improvable.
I would agree. We're in the same boat, man. We're in the same boat with Caleb Houston.
Well, this next guy's a guy that I'm going to tell you I don't know how to judge it because we don't know how to judge overtime elite players. And this is Dominick Barlow. He's 19 years of age, 6'10", played with overtime elite. Again, this is the first year we're getting overtime elite prospects coming through. There's no real statistical translations because they didn't play in a real league or anything like that, not even like the G League Ignite. The size is there, almost 6'10", 7'3" wingspan. But how do we assess these players?
It's tough. It's absolutely tough. I agree with you. The overtime elite experiment is going to be fascinating to watch because for the questions that we could have about Dominick Barlow, who, when you think about the positives, that 6'10" size is real. He's a legit 6'10". He looked really big out there at the combine. If everything's going right for him, breaking right for him offensively, he's one of these modern forwards who can space the floor, finish out of pick and rolls, the interior finishing, all that great stuff. But if the shot's not going in, I have questions about the defense. I have questions about the motor. At the combine in those games, he wasn't rebounding the ball really well. That's a big concern for me. If you're that size, but you're not aggressive on the glass on either end of the floor, I have questions about how some of the production is going to translate at the NBA level when he was playing against high school competition virtually the entire time, as you outlined with the overtime elite. And his feel for the game, if I think it's a little low, if I'm not seeing flashes of playmaking, some short roll playmaking, I'm not seeing those things, and I'm betting on basically a 6'10" guy who he needs to knock down 34 to 37% of his threes at the NBA level to really justify his value. I'm not going to take that guy in like the top 45 of the draft. Now, like 46 to 60, like the back end of the second, you want to take a flyer on somebody who's interesting? Absolutely, but I'm not going to take him in the top 45. At least I'm not personally. I don't trust it. And maybe you and I could be wrong about that. Maybe the overtime elite was a better experiment than given credit for, but it's one of those things we got to kind of see how it plays out. And I have as many questions about John Montero too.
Yeah, exactly. We just don't know what Montero's going to do. We don't know what Barlow's going to do. Like, happy to take flyers on them in the second round because
Yeah.
measurables and some of the stuff is interesting, but it's very hard to compare these guys. And if these guys come out and really are massive in the NBA, we'll go, okay, well, maybe we should be paying more attention to overtime elite, and maybe we're underrating the level of production and who they're going up against and how that all translates across. And the question, again, I talked about this a couple of days ago. I heard Rafael Barlow talk about this. Like, if these sort of players who went to overtime elite or got these high rated prospects, if they did a Shaden Sharp and didn't play at all, would we feel better about them? Or how would we view them? And we don't know. There's all these different ways to get into the NBA now, and how to compare and contrast them. Considering so much of it is new, like NBL pathway is relatively new, G League Ignite's new, overtime elite is even newer, and there's going to be all these different things happening. And how to judge those is a really tough question. And we'll get more information this year, but we won't know for probably 5, 6, 7 years as to how to judge this stuff more accurately than